I went to Brussels as an MEP and, for the Brexit Party, and it's clear where my position was, and that was to go world trade. The Northern Ireland Protocol was a clear fault line. It was obvious at the start that Boris had effectively annexed the part of Britain by putting the whole border down, the sea border in. And now the chickens have come home to roost. The same as on fishing. He betrayed the fishing industry, and on the level playing field, our precise inability to be able to be more competitive in terms of corporation tax cuts, not increases, we can't do. So all of this is very, very predictable. Now, we have a situation now where it's given political opportunity to Sinn Féin, who, let's not forget, only a generation ago were using bombs, not the ballot box. And we've seen a surge in Irish nationalism because of this political fault line. This was coming like a slow-motion train down the track. And I think Boris Johnson is entirely responsible. Now, those who said, oh, don't worry, they can negotiate, it's like they don't understand how Brussels works.
So in your scenario, in your solution, because whichever way you look at it, someone's going to lose out here. Yeah. So the Unionists lose out, or the EU lose out, or the UK lose out. In your scenario, we'll forget about what the EU want.
Yeah.
And we forget about the trade and cooperation agreement anyway. Have a trade war.
My position has been consistent. The NI protocol should be torn up and we should stop negotiating with Brussels.
But the problem with that is we're already in a cost of living crisis and we need a trade war with Europe like a hole in the head, and it would affect ordinary people. And that's why this is such an awful conundrum. Washington have said the same. They don't approve of unilateral action, and we also want a trade deal with them.
It's funny.
At least you're consistent in your position.
Yeah,
that's something other people haven't been.
Yeah, I am consistent. Isn't it funny how people who are very in favour of Remain consistently said, no, Donald Trump stopped meddling in British politics, and yet when Joe Biden says you must leave the protocol in place, everyone's in favour of that. Look, the fact of the matter is there's no easy solution. There's an absolute stalemate in Stormont. Anybody who follows the situation saw this coming a mile off, and I think Boris has to own this. It's his making. It's a disaster.
Yeah, just quickly, what would you do, Amy?
So I think the EU have offered some reasonable concessions. I think we need to, as ever with this, we need to dial down the rhetoric and get back to the negotiating table. I think it's really important to remember that a majority of Assembly members in Stormont support the protocol, although they do recognise some changes need to be made. So I think this kind of blustering talk about just scrapping it, unilateral action, is playing to a base who I actually think we might be somewhat at the end of the ideological road with, because very few people in England are particularly energised about the Northern Irish Protocol. They're much more concerned about cost of living. Yeah. Very few people in Northern Ireland want to see a trade war, which will push their cost of living crisis.
I suppose the base could be arguably the DUP, and if you can persuade them with this bluster and rhetoric, as you call it, to then go into some sort of power-sharing agreement, that would restore the democratic process. And you could then retract some of what you said to EU. I suppose, I'm hoping that might be the reason behind it.